Hi, Deacon John Wilson here, Education Enrichment Director for West Angeles Church. I've been hearing a lot of things from my 11th grade parents that, are really just incorrect about the admissions process, which reminds me, if you're hearing this and you're an 11th grader or you're a parent of an 11th grader, this is a key part of the year if you're thinking about an affordable college in fall of 2026. But there are just a few things you might be hearing that are just, well, if you're living in California, probably are not true. One of them I've heard a lot this year is that, Black students score higher on the ACT because the SAT is racist. And then you don't want to do SAT prep. You want them just to take the ACT. The problem is here in California, there's not a lot of ACT prep. And if you find some, it's going to be very expensive. It's because California is just not an ACT state. Let me explain. In many states in the country, the ACT is the high school proficiency test. But we don't have a high school proficiency test in California. That was cut out many years ago, about maybe 10 years ago. And certainly the ACT was not the test then even. So there's no benefit to taking the ACT for that reason. The other situation is that people feel that the SAT is racist, but I have found when students are prepared to take the SAT, Black students, Hispanic students, you know, I guess that's what they mean. They can score high too. I've seen some high scores coming out of our SAT prep. So if you're an 11th grade parent and you're thinking about SAT prep and you're going to look for ACT, no, I mean, then they'll say, well, I took a test of both in my school and my students scored higher with the ACT, but they had no prep for either. Now, if you prep the student for SAT, they'll score higher if you put them with a good prep like ours, which is Princeton Review based. So I want to make sure you really have a clear understanding of that. And then there's the other factor. If they take SAT prep, it will help them with the ACT. It really will. Now, kind of step back and reason with it. If you have that belief that the ACT is better because the SAT is racist, step back and think about that for a minute. The ACT tests 4 or 5 subjects, whereas the SAT only tests 2. How about that? Don't you think it's going to be easier if it's just math and verbal? Somebody said, well, they're bad at math. Maybe they can make up for it. But if they're not good at math, it's going to affect their science too. It turns out if you take the ACT. So why not do this? Why don't you come and take SAT prep, or have the student take the June test without prep because it's too late to get in ours now. Then they can prep for the August test. And somebody like me can look at their scores, look at how they did on the test, the data, and come up with a plan for them to score higher. That was a lot of time to take on one flaw. Maybe I'll take a couple of quick ones. Another one is that don't worry, look for scholarships. That's going to be a key, a year from now for you in getting a college affordable. Scholarships sure help, but they usually help with the indirect cost, not the direct cost. It doesn't mean students shouldn't look for scholarships. And looking a year from now, a lot of people feel if they start things early in life or early in the process of anything, it's going to be better. But there's no evidence that they look for scholarships now, and they find scholarships, but they can't apply for them right now because the scholarship season isn't open the first season until later in the summer. And those are your most, the summer and early fall, and those are your most selective scholarships that students need super high grades for. And then some of them, a lot of financial need that most people can't get. They should look for scholarships, but it's not a hugely important thing for this time of year. I'm hearing that a lot. Okay, so what is important this time of year? And I'm going to cover some more mistakes people make. But real quick before we close here, what is important right now? Finishing out the semester strong. If your students need tutoring of any kind, they need homework help, get them to us. We have a program, or get them to somebody, because these grades are their last shot for an 11th grader to have a good GPA, really. They said, well, they can make it up next year, but you remember how averages go. Now you're dividing by 7, a 7th semester. You got to get that done now. This is the last chance to substantially increase GPAs. So I need students to concentrate on their grades. The second thing they should do this summer is start to work on the essays for their applications. We're going to have several small groups working on their essays from essay experts and me. The key is to get those drafts developed and get them in the freezer. Get them stored away for the fall. So when they start your early applications, they're already done. And especially if your youth are very busy in the summer. I don't know how you plan on getting that done, but you need somebody at least to structure it and push the students into working on their essays. And that's what we do and how we can help. And you really can't apply for schools till the fall. That'd be the earliest, but you can certainly start working on the essays, okay? That's what they should be doing. Also, I think looking at the schedule for next fall, your class schedule, please don't give them a lot of AP classes. It's too late for all that now. And by the way, it's more so a GPA issue. What is their cumulative total GPA? Weighted and unweighted is more important right now. And next year, taking a lot of AP classes isn't going to turn around, whole stuff for the previous 6 quarters. I hope that helps. God bless you. And once again, if you want to get videos like this, click like and subscribe. That widens our reach. Gets you click notify a notification. Turn that on. You'll know every time we drop a video or go live or something like that happens. God bless you. Thank you very much. Bye-bye now.